Okay, first I want to let you all know that today's event is a partnership between the Talent and Economic Development Department of Michigan and the Michigan Economic Development Corporation. So check out their booths to learn more about how they are helping job seekers and employers flourish in Michigan. Okay, so if you can hear me, I do want to invite you in to come in, take a seat. So our next panel is First Robotics. From competition to career, primary sponsors of the First Robotics competition, Bosch USA and Magna International, discuss why they chose to invest heavily into competition. Current employees of both companies talk about how the involvement of robotics helped them secure a job. So First Robotics has been described as a Super Bowl for nerds, but it's much more than that. Right now, we'll hear from a panel of participants from Bosch and Magna about how the competition helped them find careers and why their companies have decided to support robotics. You can come on up. Come up.
Hello. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. We're going to have our distinguished panelists take a seat really quickly. Can you hear me okay in the back? Okay, going ahead and feel free to sit down and get comfortable. Wonderful. So, Monique Wells, I am in HR with Consumers Energy. Consumers Energy is particularly passionate about FIRST. We've seen intangible benefits to our participation and our engagement in FIRST throughout the state, and there are other companies and employers too who feel the same way. And so hopefully you get a little bit of insight into why we're so excited about this for the landscape of economic development in Michigan. And at this time, I'm just going to allow my distinguished panel to do a quick introduction. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Günther Bräuner. I work for Magna International. I've been with Magna for almost 30 years in various disciplines in the organization. Currently, I'm a Director of Engineering Services, Facilities, and Business Processes out at our Novi location.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tim. I also work for Magna, coming up on about 5 years now. I work as a packaging engineer, and I am a former FIRST participant.
My name is Charlie Ackerman. I'm the Senior Vice President of Human Resources for Bosch North America, and I've been associated with FIRST Robotics since 1998.
My name is Julian Gabriel. I'm working at Bosch right now for about half a year as a full-time associate, but my history with the company goes back further, as I both interned at the company and actually worked with Bosch Associates through the FIRST Robotics program.
Hi everyone, I'm April Schoenemann. I have been with Bosch for approximately 17 years, and I also started with FIRST Robotics in 1998.
Wonderful. Thank you for taking the time to introduce yourselves. We're going to go on ahead and get started. We want to maximize the amount of time, but I do want to start with why the employers here, namely Bosch and Magna, are so excited about FIRST Robotics. So we're going to get started with you, Gunther. If you could talk to us about what's behind the passion that fuels your engagement with FIRST Robotics?
Well, I think FIRST Robotics provides an excellent platform to combine future potential benefits for our organization with our mission to give back to the communities that we live and operate in. Magna being a technology company in a very competitive marketplace, we realized the importance of STEM and the growing importance of STEM in the future. And FIRST really allows for us to develop and build the talent pipeline that allows us to benefit in the future. We see a lot of what we see at the FIRST students is also what organizations like ours are looking for in our employees, whether that is on a team level, through teamwork, through leadership, through creative thinking, through innovative thinking, through collaborative working, cross-functional problem solving and whatnot. Whether it's on an event level, through representation, public speaking, organization. Those are all skills that the employers are looking for. And while FIRST was really founded to support science and technology, it's the students on the teams get exposed to all functions of today's industry. They get exposed to HR-related aspects. They get exposed to program management. They get exposed to IT, engineering, obviously, marketing. And so it really provides a great base for those students to go out in the work life. The second aspect is part of Magna's constitution is to give back to the communities that we live and operate in. And FIRST provides an excellent avenue for us there. And we do that by sponsoring teams. We do that by supporting, by mentoring teams. We also create a lot of positive aspects and break down a lot of barriers as we work with those teams. If you work and mentor on a FIRST team, you work with potentially your suppliers, your vendors, and your competitors on the same team for the same goal, giving back. And as giving back is also an important aspect of FIRST itself. Annually, the teams and the students are encouraged to give back, to use science and technology to give back to their communities and to grow the footprint of FIRST.
Right.
The winners of this assignment are typically awarded the Chairman's Award. That's the highest award that FIRST hands out at the competitions. And we're very proud that many of the teams that we have supported actually have won those Chairman's Award over the years. And it provides an avenue for everyone to give back.
Right.
You don't need to be an engineer. Regardless of your title, regardless of your position, you can give back. And the students get to work with real-life professionals and get to gain that experience in that environment.
That's amazing. Thank you, Charlie.
Sure, and there's probably a lot of overlap with what Gunther has talked about and what I've got as well. But I would tell you there are two fundamental reasons why that we are so interested in FIRST. The first is labor economics, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. The second thing is it's part of our strategic talent pipeline. The first piece around labor economics is what many people know is when we start thinking about the IoT, the Internet of Things, and the advancement of the markets that's moving so quickly right now, even in the fields of automotive, connected vehicles, autonomous vehicles, electrified vehicles, and even the services that go along with that. That market is moving at a pace that's creating a demand so fast that obviously the supply cannot keep up. It's just that simple. The reasons why that we're looking at FIRST is because we see it as a strategic talent pipeline. When we start looking at the supply and the talent that actually is in the market, and when you start looking at the unemployment rate that we have, the unemployment rate is really seen right now somewhere around 3.5% to 4%. But if you look in the areas of critical skills, that rate is almost less than 0.5%. Software engineers, artificial intelligence, system architects, those are the types of positions that we need to have more supply. Hence the solution of FIRST. And deepening that into the high schools. This is the fundamental reasons why that Bosch is so interested right now, because the market is moving and we've long since found our way into working with FIRST quite extensively.
That's amazing. So just to go further into this discussion, so let's talk to some FIRST alum that have had these experiences. We have one in the audience, and have benefited from this. And so we're going to start with you, April, and we're going to move to Julian and Tim. But can you speak about how the introduction to the FIRST platform was the segue into your career?
That's easy. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was at a public school system. A neighbor said to me, "Girl, you need to get involved in this program." And my competitive nature said, "Okay, sure, I'll go interview." And I landed a spot in FIRST. I didn't know it had anything to do with math and science. At the time, BattleBots was a sitcom on television. And I didn't get to build anything in the first year I was on the team. I was on the newspaper team. But I was able to watch, ask questions, be a part of this traveling new growth project that at the time Dean swore he was going to, in 10 years, have it in every high school throughout the United States. I think we're pretty close.
Yes.
But what evolved from that was me building things and working with my hands and discovering that I had aptitude in the STEM field in general. And next thing I know, Kettering University was reaching out to me and saying, "Hey, we want you here." And as soon as I got that position secured, then Bosch did the same for me. Kettering reached out to Bosch and said, "Hey, we have some resumes for you to look at, and they have all of these career development paths in place to help you get there." So for me, if I hadn't been involved in FIRST Robotics, I probably would have been that student going through my basic classes at a community college trying to figure out what I wanted. And in the end, let's say you don't think that you want to design something and you don't want to be an engineer. I didn't say my title, but I'm a senior account manager. I don't actually work in an engineering field. I'm not in applications. I'm not in development. I don't do testing. The coolest thing for me about engineering is that if you keep asking questions and keep telling people what you're interested in, you'll find something you do like. Right now, as a senior account manager, I take collections of ideas from other gifted people, I bring it together, and I present it to other people. I problem solve. It's the same thing that I did as a high school student in robotics, and it just keeps growing.
That's awesome. Tim and Julian, we'll start with you, Tim. Just continue in that same path. How through FIRST, similar to what April has expressed, did you start to see, Tim or Julian, start to see how your path, your future path would kind of make itself?
Well, you see, FIRST Robotics gave me a lot of things. It gave me my start. It taught me to love engineering. It not only that, but also gave me an opportunity to then go and find companies, gave me connections, gave me people. And now it offers me an opportunity to pay it forward. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew that FIRST Robotics was an interesting thing. It sounded cool. I knew my friends were in it. And then when I joined, it's not just that I found something to do, it's I found something to love. Building robots, working in competitive teams, trying to reach something greater than what we had before. All that stuff wind together became something that I became passionate about. And it didn't just stop there, right? So I had this passion, I had this interest and this drive, and then it gave me the opportunity, the connection to companies. It gave me an in with Bosch. I knew many mentors who taught me firsthand how to be an engineer, and then they gave me that guidance and advice to go then apply for a company like Bosch. It was the perfect flow. The beginning, the interest, the intrigue, and the end. And now that I'm in Bosch, it does the same thing that, those mentors did for me. I now volunteer my time. I continue with this program. And the hope is that maybe in some way I can kind of inspire other students to follow this similar path. I think that's part of what makes, FIRST Robotics such a brilliant thing. It's a full intertwining circle. The intro, the intrigue, and then paying it forward.
That was so beautifully said.
Thank you.
It was so amazing.
Can I
Go
offer
ahead.
something about
You can.
this?
Go right ahead.
He's a little humble too, okay? So, he really is. But one thing that when he first got out of high school, he internship with Bosch that very first year, and it wasn't in engineering. It was actually in HR.
And that was such an intriguing thing. I'm glad you brought that up because such a pathway is not something typically afforded. I went to college and I had an internship before I even started. There aren't students who have that opportunity. Stuff like that is the kind of thing you wish you had. And I have to say that it was probably one of the most defining things in allowing me to succeed in this field that I'm in now. Now I'm in Bosch again, and I'm in this rotational program. I jump in a bunch of different locations, try my hand in a whole bunch of different things, engineering and science and math, and hopefully something like marketing and business too. FIRST was such an amazing pathway, and now, it's just brilliant. I work with these students, and I see that same passion, growing in their eyes.
That's amazing.
It's
Before
outstanding.
you add in, I do want to say FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. And you already hear it, but I think what I really want to draw your attention to is the passion, the flexibility, just the kind of well-rounded nature of those that participate in FIRST programming. Go on ahead. Tell us a little bit more about the career pathway and how FIRST led you through that. Go ahead.
So I think FIRST is very unique in that it gives students an opportunity to really develop those practical skills, whether that's in engineering or even business and marketing, that are just indispensable either through college or later than life when you build a career off of it. For me personally, one of the things that really sticks out in a tangible way was the opportunity to learn like 3D modeling and CAD software. So after 4 years on the team in high school, going into college, I was very much ahead of the curve, and it's still a skill set that I use today, and it provides a lot of that kind of background experience that I'm able to leverage in my career today. And then, like, one of the huge things about First Robotics is the opportunity to work with mentors. So these are professional engineers, business people who are able to come alongside students and really kind of guide them in how to approach these engineering problems, and that really sticks with you. So, and mentors are the tremendous resource in that way. So it's, how do you take this complicated, messy problem and break it down into manageable parts? How do you develop solutions? How do you evaluate those solutions? And is this something we can build, something we can implement in the time that we have with the budget allotted? And how is the end user going to interact with this? It's a way of thinking that you wouldn't otherwise have had the opportunity to develop, and it's just been indispensable in every part of my life since, and I still use these skills on a daily basis.
And that's a wonderful thing to bring up, which brings me back to both Gunther and Charlie. You were speaking about mentors. We know mentors are a huge component to the success of a team, not only sponsorship resources so that the team has the financial resources, but time and time it's been the mentoring, their relationships and what they've meant to the teams. How can you talk to potential employers about why it is that we need employers to get mentors from their companies to assist with building out first teams in the state? You can have the first go at that.
Can I have the first go? Well, I did spend a number of years as a mentor on our team, and I thought I beat everyone at the panel here. But Charlie has me by about 2 years. My mentorship goes back to about 2000 when we got involved with
Wow.
a team in Novi, Team 503 from Novi High School. And it's a unique environment being there as a mentor. If you see it, if you see the drive that the students have, if you see the program, the good that the program does, the creativity that the students bring forth, the drive for innovation, and so it just, what it gives back to you as a mentor is so much. It just makes you see I think we're in for a good future with the students that are coming through this program, and we're encouraging new mentors to join this. Magna has severely stepped up their efforts in growing the program. While we've started out with about a handful of teams in the 2000s, Magna now sponsors dozens of teams in Canada, in the US, in Mexico, and in Europe. And those numbers, as we speak, those numbers keep growing. And Magna has also expanded past just the team sponsorships. Magna is supporting first the organization on an organizational level, where some of our senior leadership on the board of First Canada, on the executive advisory board of First Canada. They're supporting First with strategic help. They're supporting First with events in Canada. They're sponsoring and supporting events in Michigan and North America. Magna has sponsored the 2018 World Championship here in our hometown in Detroit. And Magna's video won the most voted video in that event. And Magna is committed to continue the sponsorship of the first World Championship in Detroit right here. Further avenues that Magna is taking, that Magna is sponsoring every team that has a Magna employee as a mentor. Magna is going to sponsor every team that has a Magna employee's child on it.
Wow.
Magna has created what we call the First at Magna Days, where the teams would come out to our organization. So the teams can present themselves. The teams can present what First is about to help us increase the awareness to our hiring population as well as the mentoring population within Magna. The program is an excellent program, and it gives back so much, whether it's on an individual base to the mentors themselves, as well as to the organizations that those students can join, and the students at the end of the day.
Charlie?
So sure. Again, I think the question is about the importance of mentorship.
Mentoring, yeah.
One of the things that we have said over many years, the foundation of our program at first is not about money. It's about mentoring and the mentoring relationship. We've constantly said that. And so when you start looking at building that mentor base, as we continue to grow our footprint and the number of students, teams that we sponsored, when we really started to accelerate in 2008, we probably had a handful of teams, maybe 4 or 5 teams, with a reach of about 200 students. Now we have a reach of 2,000 students.
Wow.
And what we also do is that we actually monitor and measure the ratio of mentor to students. And we're running somewhere around 10 to 1. So so it tells you the number of mentors that we have throughout the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And again, it's the foundation. The other side of it too is an integrated approach with our high potential program. One of the things that we've talked about is that we encourage our high potentials in the organization, once they're identified, to actually go back and take a student and mentor them.
Good.
So the relationship with our high potential program is linked with those in the within the FIRST Robotics. And the other thing is that it's a pathway for folks like April and Julian to also give back into those programs. So we're constantly cycling this all the way through, and that's why we say it is a strategic talent pipeline.
That's amazing. So I think it's really important that, and I don't want to overemphasize this, okay? So I know I'm passionate about it, but I will refrain from going beyond my distinguished panel here, but I do want to give the panelists just one more opportunity to kind of speak to, there are many people who understand robotics and these are teams and they build robots. But I think what I don't want missed is that this is a multi-functioning ecosystem that has greatly benefited. I mean, some of the programs in Detroit, at the DHDC, some of the things that we're seeing to increase retention and promote student development and growth is fostered through this program. And so I just want to give my panelists just another opportunity. I'm going to start with you, April. If you can, in the last minutes, just go through and just implore and encourage our audience. For those of you that know and don't, we want to do a public service announcement so that you can then go and share with those that you know why you should be passionate about FIRST, why you should be talking to your companies about who's participating in FIRST, and so forth. Go on ahead, April.
So Charlie says it best, but talent retention and cultivating talent is something that is huge in the industry right now. We're kind of in a drought with finding good people. And by actively engaging in FIRST programs, you can go out and see firsthand, even if it's a small capacity, even if you're not mentoring a team, you can judge or volunteer at an event with no experience whatsoever just to be a part of it. But the reason why I go there and point that out, Julian said it, I didn't realize we have the same background, but we both started working at Bosch 3 weeks out of high school. So when most high schoolers are out applying and doing SAT 2s and applying for universities, we were doing our resume already. And those mentors at those companies that we worked with were key. How many 16, 17-year-olds know how to write a resume and have that much good stuff to put on it? And people that come out of FIRST have that.
Beautiful.
So, one thing you got to keep in mind about FIRST is it's so much more than just a robot building team. It's a competition and it's a small business. You design, you sell, you market, you mentor, you teach, and you assemble this entire thing. You reach all aspects of business. And this experience that you get from it is rivaling that. And I'd say sometimes even better than internships. Now, internships are important, but some of these things, you have 6 weeks to build a 120-pound robot. Those skills you'll rarely find in an internship. Now, once you get these people, once you get these students who have been on the team for 2, 3, 4 years, these are essentially associates who have had 2, 3, 4 years of experience more than just your typical intern. And that's what makes them such a perfect candidate to become part of your business. To reach out to these people who have had more knowledge, experience, and first-hand technical experience is just brilliant. I think it's given me, it's given my friends, and it's given all of us, I think, up here, a fantastic advantage in the marketplace. And if you take note and use that potential opportunity, it'll help you out in the long run.
Yeah, Charlie.
So one of the things that has come up multiple times, and I want to touch on again, is just how valuable it is to have the chance to interact with mentors on these teams. It's basically gives you kind of an apprenticeship sort of opportunity to really learn how engineering works, how business works, because that is what, like Julian was saying, is really what these teams are. It's like a small business. So you don't only have your engineering teams, you also have your marketing team, and you're all working together across different departments. And I think that is tremendously valuable to potential employers, and that they know that. And you see all the Magna and Bosches and sponsors of First and individual teams, and they recognize how valuable of an opportunity it is to the students participating. And just First as an organization, I'll also mention, does a tremendously good job of kind of emphasizing how important it is that you not only work hard, but that you do it in an ethical way, and really raising the bar of what your conduct is, both in business and in competitions. And so I think employers are very much aware of how important those skill sets are. And if you've been on a First team, if you've built the robot in 6 weeks, you're definitely familiar with the idea of hard work. You don't get a robot built in 6 weeks without a little bit of elbow grease, so to speak. And so First has been really a tremendously valuable program to me, and was kind of how I developed the skills that I use daily, how I knew that I wanted to go into engineering at all. And I really can't understate how much of an impact it's made on the course of my life.
Thanks, Tim. That's amazing. Charlie, Gunther, give you the last word.
Sure. I think what I wanted to mention is, because we're in the state of Michigan, I think it's important for you to understand that actually the state of Michigan actually has the largest number of First teams
Yes.
in the United States by far. And when I really look at why is that, okay, I think number one is it's because what Monique said about a great ecosystem of industry, government, and educators coming together. And what happened is, in 2013, when Governor Schneider actually went to the First Robotics competition, was so inspired, goes back to Lansing. One of the things that he did is he infused millions of dollars into the advancement of STEM education. At the same time, companies like Ford, GM, Bosch, Chrysler, Toyota, what we were doing at the same time is we were pushing the organization, our businesses, to get involved with First. And at the same time, we were also talking with Kettering, Michigan State, University of Michigan. So the state of Michigan, along with First Michigan, headed up by Gail Albert, the president, have done a remarkable job. And that's one of the reasons why that the World Championship is actually here in Detroit. And what I would encourage you to do is, if you've never been to a World Championship here in Detroit, come in the third week of April. You need to be here. You need to see the excitement. You need to see the passion. It is a wonderful event. And you're going to see about 30,000 students, okay, geeked on driving robots. Yeah? And it is so much fun. So
Yes.
I'm also a little passionate about it myself, right? But it's a great program.
All right, about a minute.
There's
Yeah.
not a whole lot to add to what Charlie just said. For those of you that have been to the competitions, they are great. They are riot. They're crazy, and
Yeah.
it just drives the best of the best. And I think the industry already knows too that students coming out of First, there's a lot of good students that come out of their program, especially with all the skill set that they gain throughout their program. And for the students out there, I would just say, if you're looking at getting into the industry, make sure you put First on your resumes. Make
Yeah.
sure the companies know that you went through this program. For anyone that's past their student ages, get back in the program. Even if
Yeah.
you're in university, when you get out in the working life, get back in the program, volunteer, give back. And there's a big group of alumni that are developing, the First alums. that are giving back to this program. I mean, we have, for instance, from our team, we have seen that as the team that we started with has developed. After getting established in FIRST, they have helped start more than 100 teams in FIRST Robotics,
Wow.
FIRST Tech Challenge, FIRST Lego League, and FIRST Lego Junior across all the platforms of FIRST.
That's
It
amazing.
feeds itself.
It does.
It'll be around.
It does. So for
Thank
those
you.
of you that don't know, elementary to high school, across the entire spectrum of FIRST platform, you have FIRST Lego League Junior, FIRST Lego League, FIRST Tech Challenge, middle school level, FIRST Robotics Competition, high school level. And so for those of you that were not aware that Detroit is the host for the next 2 years, we have a 3-year contract. We're hoping to get on out there. Last week in April, the downtown Detroit turns into robotics mania, right? So like Charlie said, over 30,000 students competing, over 40 countries represented. As far as you can think, we've got teams from Japan and from China. It is amazing. We take over many of the areas in downtown Detroit, Cobo, Ford Field included. It is free for all. So if you are interested, please come out and see what the FIRST Nation is all about, why we're so excited about it. Consumers Energy in specific, we are going all out to promote further engagement across the state for FIRST, because we understand that in order to make our state attractive for economic development and talent, this is one surefire way, right? So I'd love to take this opportunity to thank Bosch, Magna, the teams that are here. You guys were phenomenal. Thank you. And for those of you who would like to know more, I think there's an agenda that has some of our contact information. You feel free to come up and talk to any of us at the end of the panel. Thank you so much for attending.